Lenders are making money off of you. And if you don't know how they're making money off of you, then you're probably missing out on some opportunities to save money, or at the very least, direct your money to an area that would be better suited to put you in the type of loan that's going to benefit you in the long run. My name is Frederick Middlebrooks. You are tuned into the Greatest Asset Community Podcast. In this episode, we are going to be talking about how lenders are making money off of you, but more importantly, what you can do to better position yourself to be in a loan that's going to save you money every month and thousands, if not 10,000 or more every year. So to start off, I want to say that lenders love loaning money. Don't get it twisted. If you've ever been denied a loan or know if someone else has been denied a loan, it's not because lenders don't want to loan you money. That is literally the entire premise of the finance industry. They loan money and expect to receive it back with interest. They love loaning the money. Now, the other part of that, it is a risk-based industry, and lenders don't want to loan money to individuals who are high risk because it's a high probability or a high chance that those individuals are not going to pay back the money that was loaned to them. For that reason, we have the whole credit system that we have in place and all of the other things that lenders do, looking at your income, looking at your debt and everything to determine how much they can actually loan you before the risk level gets too high. And so that is what I want to put out there first. Now, you do have some people that will say, well, there's always insurance. So if someone doesn't pay, insurance comes in and they'll still be able to pay the lender to make sure that the lender's whole. That's true to an extent. Insurance, particularly mortgage insurance, it doesn't cover the entire amount that was loaned out. It covers a portion of the amount that was loaned out. The other part of that has to be covered by the sale of the home. But in any case, insurance also has standards. And if you are outside of a particular risk threshold, then you can't be insured. FHA loans, for example, FHA, the government does not loan you money to go purchase a home. They insure loans that fall under a particular criteria, but your loan cannot be insured or FHA insured if you fall outside or above a risk threshold. And so because of that, you want to do what you can to make sure that your risk level is below a certain threshold. A big part of that is making sure that you have your credit profile looking great. Now, if you need assistance with helping to get your credit in order, I'm going to put a link down below in the description because I have a free credit repair course, credit education course. Is going to teach you all about credit, particularly from a mortgage perspective, and what you can do to get your credit looking much better than what it currently is now so that you can position yourself for a home. So I'll put that link down in the description. Be sure to check that out if you do need assistance with helping to repair your credit. Now, on to what we are talking about in this episode. The three things are going to be three main things that I'm going to go over in terms of how a lender makes money off of you. You want to pay attention particularly to the third one, because this is going to be the area where you are going to have a lot of flexibility in terms of being able to get money that's really going to impact your bottom line. So first is origination fees. And when I say origination fees, I'm going to wrap all of the fees that lenders get paid on from you when they are originating your loan. So you've got origination fees, the actual fees for originating a loan. You've got included in that, I'm going to include underwriting fees, processing fees, administration fees. So these fees can differ in amount from lender to lender. They can also differ just in the fee charged overall. So for example, some lenders don't charge an origination fee, but they charge a processing fee and an underwriting fee. Some lenders charge an origination fee, but they don't charge a processing fee or underwriting fee or an administration fee. Some charge, 2 out of the 4, some charge all 4, some, it varies between the amount and what they're charging. But origination fees are one way that a lot of lenders are making money off of originating you a loan, because that's money that they get up front at closing, non-refundable. None of this is refundable money. And so that's one way that they keep the doors open and keep business going so that they can make loans to other people. They've got to pay the staff. It takes processors, it takes underwriters, it takes people to get your loan originated. And so that's one of the ways that lenders are able to cover those costs is through origination fees. Now, second way that lenders make money off of you is through your interest rate. Now, Obviously, if you have a higher interest rate loan, you're going to be paying more in your monthly payment than if you had a lower interest rate loan. So if you get a loan with a 7 or 8% interest rate, you're going to be paying more than someone who has a 5 or a 6% interest rate. But when that lender is getting paid principal and interest payments from you, which is part of your monthly mortgage payment, the higher that interest rate, the more that lender is making in interest off of you. So you've got origination fees, you got interest rate. Now, the third thing, discount points. This is what you really want to zero in on, is the discount points, because this is where lenders, I've seen some lenders get over on people. I've seen some people just unknowingly select a loan product because they thought it was better for them because the interest rate was lower, but they ended up paying so much more in discount points that it almost didn't even make it worth it, or in many cases, it didn't make it worth it. So this is one thing that you really want to pay attention to when it comes to discount points. This is money that you are paying in advance for getting the interest rate that you're getting. In a lot of cases, it's the cost that you have to pay for getting a lower interest rate. And it's one of those things that a lot of people are unaware of. They go shopping for lenders and they say, oh, this lender is going to give me a 5% interest rate. They're going to give me a 4.5% interest rate. And that lender said he was going to give me a 6.5%. So I'm gonna go with this lender that's going to give me the 5% interest rate. What you did not look at or did not know to look at in the loan cost section of your loan estimate was how much that 5% interest rate was going to cost you. And in the loan cost section of your loan estimate, it would have told you how much you are actually going to pay in discount points. That is key, because I have literally seen individuals who have been charged in excess of $24,000 in discount points just to get an interest rate that was 1.5% lower. Is not worth it in that instance, because there are a lot of factors that come into play in terms of whether or not it's good for you to take that interest rate or it's not good and you should wait. But in this particular individual situation, they were paying over 7 percentage points, 7 discount points in order to get this lower interest rate. Now, I want to explain that for a moment. A discount point is equivalent to 1% of the loan amount. So if you're purchasing a home and the loan amount for that home is $400,000, 1% of that $400,000 is $4,000. 3% of that $400,000 is $12,000. So you can see how this can quickly build up, with just, 3% of the loan amount or 2% of the loan amount. 2% of the loan amount, that's $8,000 more that you're going to have to pay if you're getting charged 2 discount points. Now, before I say the next thing, I will say that if a lender is talking to you in discount points, make them convert that into dollars for you. It's not your job to be trying to decipher this language, this finance terminology that lenders speak in. Say, hey, what is that in dollars? They say, oh, it's going to be 1.5 discount points. It's going to be 2.5 discount points. Okay, what is that in dollars? How many dollars, US dollars, is that going to cost me? I'm just telling you this so that you know 1 discount point is equivalent to 1% of the loan amount. So 1.5 discount points is 1.5% of the loan amount. But make your lender convert that into dollars for you. That should not be something that you have to expend bandwidth or brain power on trying to decipher this terminology and everything. So with that, a lot of lenders, again, will quote you low interest rates, but not tell you that they're charging you discount points for that low interest rate. Now, they have to disclose it to you, but if you've ever read a loan estimate or you've ever read disclosures, it's multiple pages, a whole bunch of numbers, terminology that you don't understand, discount points, buy down fees, other things in there that you may have never understood, especially if you're a first-time home buyer. And so you don't even know what to look for. And a lender can easily, and I've seen it happen so many times, where a lender will just tell a home buyer, I'm going to get you a 5.5% interest rate. Oh, you can give me a 5.5% interest rate? Yep, I can do that. oh, that's so amazing. I'm going to go with you as my lender because this other guy said he was going to get me a 6% or a 6.5%. Oh, I can get you the 5.5%. And they don't tell you that they're charging you $10,000 in discount points to get you that 5.5% interest rate instead of going with the guy that could have gotten you the 6.5% interest rate. You might have to pay an extra $10,000. Not only are they not telling you that they're charging you for that interest rate, they're also not telling you how you can avoid paying that interest rate, how you can avoid paying the discount points to get that interest rate, because there are some ways that you can navigate around it. One of those ways is through negotiating with the seller on the purchase and sale agreement. When your agent, who should be in close communication with your loan officer, is going to negotiate on your behalf to purchase that home, one of the ways that you can avoid paying that money is to negotiate in the purchase and sale agreement for the seller to put up money for closing costs. And that money that they're putting up can be utilized to help pay or to pay all of your discount points that you would have to pay for that lower interest rate that you're wanting. So that's one way. Another way is just to negotiate on the purchase price of the home. So let's say that you're purchasing that home for $400,000 and you negotiate to be able to get that home for $390,000. That's a $10,000 difference. Now, instead of paying $390,000 for the home, do an amendment after you're under contract and tell the seller, hey, I'll pay you $400,000. You put $10,000 toward closing costs, because the bottom line is going to be the same for the seller, whether you're paying $390,000 and the seller doesn't pay anything, or whether you pay the seller $400,000 and the seller pays you $10,000 toward closing costs. It's the same bottom line for the seller. So you make an amendment after you're under contract for the seller to for the purchase price to be $400,000 and the seller to give you the difference, that $10,000, back toward closing costs, and you can put that money toward paying your discount points so you don't have to pay it. Now, if it's a bigger gap, maybe you're able to negotiate that property down to $380,000 or $375,000. You've knocked $25,000 off the price. You can say, hey, instead of $375,000, I'll pay you $390,000 and you give me $15,000 back to put toward closing costs. And that's some negotiating room that you can have as well. But a lot of lenders I have seen set their clients up for failure, because not only are they quoting you these low interest rates, and they're doing that because they want your business. They know that most people shop loans based on the interest rate. Most people are looking at, do I want to go with lender A or lender B or lender C? And they're making their decisions solely based on the interest rate that they can get, because that's going to affect their monthly payment. However, what they're not seeing is that upfront costs can actually trump whether or not it's a good decision for you to go with that interest rate. For the example that I gave just a moment ago, the individual that was getting charged over $24,000 in discount points, it was going to take this individual like 4 or 5 years before they got to their break-even point with the money that they were actually saving from that decrease in the interest rates. Well, if interest rates were to drop in a year or 2 years, that individual could have refinanced and saved money, because they would have maybe paid a few $1,000s on the refinance, and they could have saved over $15,000 by having taken a higher interest rate for a year and then doing a refinance and getting a lower interest rate the following year. That individual could have saved over $15,000 by doing it that way. If they wanted to have the lower interest rate to start with, that individual also could have benefited from just doing a buy down without permanently also paying for their interest rate to be lower. And so I'm getting a little bit deeper into things, but stick with me for a moment here. What I'm saying is that that individual could have benefited from temporarily buying down their interest rate for a year or two to give the market time to decrease rates. And once rates decrease, go back and refinance permanently to keep that low rate. So again, you've got some options, but you have to look out for the lenders that are getting over on you by quoting you a low interest rate and not telling you what is charging you in discount points. Legally, they have to disclose it, but in the finance world, We as lenders, loan officers, people that work in the finance world know that a lot of first-time home buyers do not understand what they're reading when they are sent a loan estimate, when they are sent their disclosures. A lot of people don't understand. What I recommend is that you get with your loan officer, and have them explain to you everything that's in there. But I'm telling you, just in case you run across someone who doesn't explain it, or they skip over something, or they just tell you, I'm gonna quote you a low interest rate and you're not aware, now you know, go look at the loan cost section of your loan estimate. Look how much they're actually charging you in discount points. Now, if your loan is not locked, meaning that you don't have an interest rate locked in, then it might not show anything in that loan cost section for discount points. That doesn't mean you're not being charged any, because once your loan does get locked, that's when they can charge you for it. And that's another tidbit that's really important for you to know as well. There are instances in which you do have some loan officers who will wait to lock your interest rate in until you get far enough down the line to where you kind of can't jump to another loan officer, because they won't be able to close your file on time. So that's another thing that you want to be aware of. When I say locked, because I know that's a term that you might not be aware of what I'm talking about. So you've got all of these interest rates that you can choose from. You can choose from a 7% interest rate, a 6% interest rate, a 5% interest rate. Now, if you pick the 6%, let's say that it's going to cost one amount. If you pick the 5%, it costs even more. If you pick the 7%, no cost at all. We'll just say that that's the way it's playing out right now. So those are the options that you have. Now, once you pick a rate, let's say that you pick a 6% interest rate. When you pick that rate, you're locked in now. So that lender says, okay, I've locked your rate in. That means that you're gonna get that 6% interest rate at whatever it costs on the day that you got it. So if 3 days later interest rates go up, you don't have to worry about your rate going up, because it's locked in at that 6% at the price that you we're going to pay, at the price that you agreed on. Whatever the price was on the day that it's locked, that's the price that you pay. Doesn't matter how high they go after that, you're locked in. Now, if interest rates go down, again, you don't get the benefit from that either, because you're locked in at that 6% at what rates were when you locked it in. So it's important to know that's what locked is. So when you lock your interest rate, you let the lender know, hey, I want to lock my rate in at 6%. Let me know what the price is. Or I want to lock my rate in at this percent, or let me know what the price is, and then I'll decide whether or not I want to lock my rate. So that's what locked is. This means you're locking your rate in. That's the price that you're going to pay for your interest rate when you close. And regardless of what rates do after the point when you're locked, that's the interest rate that you get. And so there's a period of when your interest rate is locked as well. Generally, it's a 30-day period. It could also be a 45-day period, meaning that as long as you close within the next 30 days or the next 45 days, however long that lock period is, that's the rate, that's the amount that you're going to pay for that interest rate. 10,000, 5,000, 6,000, nothing at all. That's what you pay for that interest rate. Now, what I mean when I say some lenders will delay locking your loan until it's too late for you to switch to another lender. Let's say they're quoting you, I can get you a 5.5% interest rate. I can get you a 5.5% interest rate. Okay, cool. And you look through your loan estimate and you don't see any discount points listed. So you go ahead and sign the loan estimate, and you proceed on with the loan. Now you get 2 weeks out from closing and a week and a half out from closing, and the lender locks in your interest rate. And so now they've locked in your interest rate. They have to send you another disclosure so that you know, okay, this is what your rate is locked. This is how much it's going to cost you. You look through that loan estimate. If you know what to look for, then you see it in the loan cost section of your loan estimate. Oh, wait a minute, discount points, $15,000 for that 5.5% interest rate that you said you could get me. Oh yes, that's what the cost is. Well, I didn't know I was going to have to pay $15,000. Again, your rate wasn't locked, and they waited until you're a week and a half, 2 weeks out from closing. They lock it, but now in a week and a half, 2 weeks, it's a really tight timeline where you really don't have time to switch to another lender in order for that other lender to go and, do a loan for you at a better rate and everything. So again, You need to know about some of the games that some lenders play. And I'm not saying all lenders. I think that there are a lot of lenders out there who do their best to do a great job, but you do have some bad apples, as you do in any industry as well, who won't inform you of what it's actually costing you. Or they'll play these games where it's like, hey, they don't have to disclose on the loan estimate if your rate's not locked. But then once your rate is locked, now it gets disclosed on the loan estimate. But if they lock it at a late enough time where you don't have time to switch to another lender or anything, then now you're just stuck saying, okay, do I want to try to switch to another lender and get the contract extended if the seller is willing to extend, or do you just want to pay the money up front? These are the things that you need to know when it comes to how lenders are making money off of you. You need to know, because they want to close your loan. They want to close your loan. And in many cases, a lot of lenders out there will quote you really low rates, but they'll come at really high prices. Now, you have some lenders out there that will quote you a low rate and it'll come at a low price, but you need to know that up front. You don't need to be playing these games with the lender. So I just want to put that out there. Discount points, discount points, discount points. This is an area that gives you a lot of leverage on how much you're going to pay every month on your mortgage payment and how much you're going to be paying up front in closing costs as well. If you're able to buy that interest rate down, then by all means buy it down, but know how much it's going to cost you to get that interest rate. I don't care what a lender tells you the interest rate is. Ask every single lender, how much is that interest rate going to cost me? How much is that interest rate going to cost me? Because you want to know what the dollar figure is. And if they say, oh, well, your interest rate's not locked, doesn't matter. They can know, if you were to lock it today, they can tell you how much it would cost you today, because they see the price before they lock it. So even though that price can change from day to day to day, most days it's not making huge swings up and down. So you can just say, if I were to lock it today, how much would it be? And they should be able to give you that answer. If they can't give you that answer, you need to find a new lender, because they're playing games with you. And when it comes to your money, you don't need people playing games with you like that. So in any case, hopefully this has been hugely beneficial. Utilize discount points to your benefit. If you're going to pay them, know how much you're going to pay, and then negotiate with the seller, or have your real estate agent negotiate with the seller for the seller to try and pay those discount points for you. Try and get as much as you can, either discounted on the purchase price so you can transfer that over to your closing costs, or upfront, just have the seller paying towards closing costs and you can utilize that money to pay your discount points. Or if you want to take the other route, take the higher interest rate, have less money that you have to pay at closing costs, and you can always refinance later when interest rates drop to a level that makes it a good decision for you. So that's what I have for you. Thank you for taking the time to tune in. Hopefully this has been hugely beneficial for you. Again, this is important stuff here. So please do share this, like it, give me a thumbs up if this is something that you found great and beneficial information, and hope to see you in the next episode. Take care, be blessed, and we'll see you next time.